Have you ever wondered why?
When?
How much?
What if?
Well, you're in luck, because you're listening to the Hypotheticast.
3 best buds.
On a mission.
To ask all the questions?
And get all the answers.
I was born with both guns blazing, and I do think I'm amazing. You got the dignity to feel a little about yourself. I don't care what your preacher says. I got my own vicious ways. Only got one commandment and it goes, I'm killing it. I'm killing it. I'm killing it.
Yo.
Wow.
Hello.
It's fun to time that. Welcome to the Hypotheticast.
Welcome to the Hypotheticast.
Hello.
Oh, Mike, you were supposed to say it too. We both said it.
Oh, I just felt so welcome.
Oh, good. I'm
I
glad.
was so happy.
Thank you for role-playing the audience.
Warm and invited.
My name is Emily,
My name is David.
I am Mike.
and we are here to bring you an episode of the Hypotheticast. We've said
so
that
true.
a few times.
We do say that a lot, I think, and the fact that people have already clicked on the Hypotheticast.
Yeah, they probably
They're probably
know.
expecting that they'll hear a podcast called the Hypotheticast.
They're not just like tuning into NPR and wondering
Yeah, you
what
never
show
know.
this is.
I'm actually curious because caller ID and podcast identification are very similar. People like my parents still say who they are in texts sometimes.
Oh, my dad signs all his texts.
Like I answer the phone, I know it's my mom, and my mom will say, "Hi, it's your mom." And I'm like, "Yeah, I know, I saw." So I wonder if we'll retire, like eventually, if podcasts get to be so ubiquitous that that's the way we consume media. You know what you're listening to when you click it. So like maybe people will just like stop saying what their show's name is.
Oh, and if we keep saying this is the Hypotheticast,
We're gonna be
people will
old
be like,
people.
oh my God.
Yeah, I know. Maybe this is it. Maybe this is the thing that makes
Right.
us.
Well, here we are,
Obsolete.
your mom and 2 dads.
Yep. Now on ABC Family. A channel that doesn't even exist anymore.
Yeah, well, they brought it back just for this.
Hey, guys, what's our theme this week?
Hey.
I heard a rumor that it was going to be conspiracy theories.
Oh man, I just felt the X-Files theme play. Like it did in my
Conspiracy. I can't do it. I'm trying to make
Wait,
the
what?
X-Files theme
Oh,
say
I-
conspiracy. It doesn't really have a rhythm to it.
Conspiracy.
Just say it really fast.
Nailed it. It's conspiracies. All of them. Every kind.
Cool.
Alien kinds, ghost kinds. I don't know. There aren't
So-
that many ghost kinds.
So not just theories, real
No,
conspiracies.
also real
Although all
conspiracies.
conspiracy theories are real to someone.
Yeah. And I think once it becomes proven, it's not a conspiracy theory anymore.
I mean, but what is proof, David?
Oh, God. What is proof, Reddit? What is proof? So if there is a conspiracy in this episode that we say, and then, in 10 years when you're listening to this show, and it's true, don't blame us because some conspiracies are real.
Do you guys have a favorite conspiracy theory memory?
I don't know if I do. I did watch the movie Conspiracy
Me too.
Theory.
That's like exactly what I thought of. I
Yeah.
remember watching it on VHS tape from More 4 Video in high school.
I'm going to go ahead and put forward my vulnerable moment about conspiracies,
Oh, you're
which is
Oh my God.
the one I believed, which was the moon landing. I was sold when
believe
I was
that-
like 17 or
You
18.
believe that we landed on the moon?
Yeah, which is obviously bullshit.
Yeah, you fool. Of course we didn't.
I believed because there's plenty of compelling articles and pictures and things that people will point to and be like, look, there's no tire track. Look, the flag is doing this. Look, the reflections in the helmet. And I wanted to believe something that was a hot take. And so when I was 17, 18, something, I was like, oh yeah, this is pretty suspicious. I don't buy it. NASA, the government, get at me. And there are compelling reasons for us to have faked landing on the moon as well. So it's there's enough there that it can fool somebody, and I've never been to the moon. I don't know,
So how
I mean-
long did you live with that?
I would say a year or two, maybe, because I didn't march around telling people about
Right.
it.
But just inside you were like, yeah.
Yeah.
Huh.
And I think there's
Interesting.
still deep down a part of me that's I don't know, sure, about almost any conspiracy theory that doesn't involve an incredible amount of stretch. That's sure, I mean, powerful people can do some pretty whack stuff. So I don't know, 1%, maybe less than 1% of me is maybe we didn't land on the moon.
It's good to have a healthy mistrust of things. I don't know if I ever thought a conspiracy theory was real.
What about fluoride? I feel like I know like multiple people that actually are paranoid of fluoride still.
Wait, what is the conspiracy?
That like fluoride controls your mind and it's put in the water by people that want to control your mind.
The proof that that's not real, I think, is that they don't put it in other countries.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, but those countries aren't mind controlled.
Right, but like people
We're the
travel.
only one. See, it's so easy.
So like
Yeah.
I studied abroad in England and they don't put fluoride in their water. At least they didn't at the time.
Right.
And I felt the same
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
in terms of my
I
mind.
felt the same. You didn't feel more or less mind control.
Well, you don't
I
notice
didn't.
the mind control.
Yeah, it's so subtle. That's what makes it so
cool.
good.
Yeah.
Cool. Should we get going?
So what we got is a segment right now. It's our first segment. It's called Would You Rather. It's a game that we made up where we each must choose between two deceptively simple options.
Ooh.
First up, we have a question from Courtney McNabb and Sean D. Because they are very similar, but they're both fun. And I want to just sort of like make it all a part of one question.
Okay.
Courtney McNabb and Sean D ask, would you rather legitimately see the Loch Ness Monster and have nobody believe you, or go viral for a piece of Loch Ness Monster evidence you actually hoaxed? And would you rather fake a moon landing and have everyone fall for it, or get to actually land on the moon but have the whole world think you're a GD dirty liar? So essentially, would you rather actually experience a thing and have nobody believe you, or become famous for hoaxing, for starting a conspiracy, basically, for faking the moon landing or for faking a piece of Loch Ness Monster evidence?
I think it would be too hard. It's because you personally would be getting media attention.
Mm-hmm.
I would not do well with like holding a lie for that long. Especially a lie about something that's stupid, no offense. But like
Oh no.
if I had to cover something up for like a really good reason, I think I could get into it. But for something like that, I think I would just be like, I can't keep it up. And then people would know. And then I would be embarrassed.
It would be too hard.
Couldn't you like just be like, I saw the monster.
Yeah, but like
I did it.
That's it.
but do you want, like, because of how hungry people are for that, you would be like interviewed over and over and over again. People would want you on their weird ass podcast
That's
for
very
like
true.
years to come.
You
Yeah.
could say no.
I guess that's
No,
true.
I'm
Yeah,
busy thinking about the monster.
I'm busy thinking about Nessie. I can't get her out of my head. So I think, Mike, you're choosing, let's say this is a 4-way. It's kind of like a matrix. You can choose fake the moon landing, fake the Loch Ness Monster, or actually see the Loch Ness Monster, or actually be on the moon.
I mean, I think being on the moon would be pretty cool.
Yeah?
That,
Even though
that's
everybody
a pretty
thinks
exclusive club.
You're a GD liar. A GD dirty liar.
Well, that's
I'd pick-
fine. Too
I'd
bad
pick
for them.
actually seeing Nessie.
Oh, yeah?
Because there's enough people that you could be like, no, it's real, I saw it. And they'd be like, yeah, we believe you.
That's true. There's like you just
And
said,
the rest
there
of
is
the
a
world-
community that would believe you.
Yeah, like I also feel like I already believe in things that lots of other people don't believe in.
Mhm. Honestly, I love the moon, and I think I would also rather have been on it at one point in my life. I think that experience would be so cool that it would overcome my frustration when everybody thought that I was a GD dirty liar.
Why do
David
you?
loves the
Yeah,
moon.
why do you love the moon? Tell us
He
your top
loves
things
it.
about
If you
the
love it so
moon.
much, why don't you marry it? Do you say how many things do you want?
Top things.
Top thing?
Any number. Pick a number.
Top things.
Your top things about the
This
moon.
week on my top things. I think the moon is fun to look at. I think
Okay.
it's like stark in the way that the photos that I've seen, which are perhaps faked. It's a very barren landscape, and I've never experienced that before, and I really am attracted to it. I like space in general, and I think I like that kind of space where you're like out there naked in the middle of nothing.
Are you naked on the moon?
Oh, probably. I mean, naked, metaphorically speaking. I am
But also
vulnerable to
literally.
space.
Let's
But I
face it.
definitely
naked.
get naked on the moon
Yeah,
just to
I
see
thought
what
you would.
happened.
Yeah.
I feel like that's enough top things for me. I'm good.
That's how we know when top things is over. When Emily's
If you're combining them, can I have Nessie be on the moon with
Sure,
me? Can she
yeah.
be up there?
But no one will believe you and think you're a GD dirty liar.
That's fine.
Great.
I don't mind.
Mike loves Nessie. David loves the moon. As long as you can bear with me being naked next to you.
We'd be on the dark side.
Emily, which one did you choose?
I want to see Nessie.
What are your top things about Nessie?
That is kind of my style of conspiracy, though, because it's like it's not like the consequences of it being real aren't
Yeah.
like we are all dying
Right.
immediately, or like they're not as major. And
Well-
also, I like not crazy about swimming in bodies of water that are like dark that you can't see, you know, the seaweed situation, big fish touching me kind of thing. I mean, I'll go in them, but I would rather witness Nessie from like a boat.
Nessie is a very small scale conspiracy.
Yeah.
Like the moon landing would have to be coordinated between like the government and
That's what I'm saying.
And
yeah.
Nessie's just like two pranksters in a rowboat or something.
Or just a weird long fish monster living in a lake.
Next up, we have a question from Alex Wendell. Would you rather find undeniable proof that a conspiracy theory is false, resulting in a mass change of heart in those that believed it, or find undeniable proof that a conspiracy theory is true, resulting in a mass change of heart in those that rejected it? So, do you want to like stumble upon something you're like, dang, the moon landing was fake, or stumble upon something that's like, it definitely was real and you've ruined?
Again, I feel like it depends on the thing, because if it is something that has to do with malicious forces actively currently working against the well-being of large amounts of people.
Good to prove that one wrong.
Yeah, I don't want that to be real. But if it's like there's a big fish monster in a lake that's not hurting anybody, anything that's more of the like paranormal, ghost, even aliens if they're nice aliens or innocuous aliens, I would love to like find out that one of those things are real just because that's fun.
Yeah.
But if it's something that's like the government is lizard people, really anything that the government is actively doing, I would rather that be not true.
Right.
The whole conspiracy theory thing now is just giving people free reign to be like, oh, I can just believe whatever I want because truth is all relative. And I can just say, I can dismiss that all with a wave of my hand. And that's all it takes. So I think it would be better, because I think conspiracy theories generally are about mistrusting large institutions.
Right.
That's not always wrong.
Right, which is a healthy
but
instinct.
I feel like we should mistrust them for real reasons and not get distracted by like black helicopters in the middle of the night or contrails. Like that's ridiculous. Yeah. Let's mistrust them because they're just underfunding schools and not giving us good health care. Right. Like there's plenty of good reasons to not trust institutions. And I think the solutions to those problems are hard, and so we just make up things like the government's watching me through my TV. Yep, because
that seems easy to
like
fight.
I can throw my TV out the window real easy.
Yeah.
I think I have I don't know. It's really hard for me, even in situations where I probably should be worried, to imagine that anyone that isn't like me or my family cares at all about what I am doing.
Right.
Like when people are like, oh, you got to tape over that little camera because someone's going to, someone's going to watch my dumb face while I scroll through the internet.
Know.
Like, okay.
Your dumb face.
I mean, I don't know. I don't understand. Or people hacking into my email. Like, there's nothing there. It's, my life is very normal. You know, I don't know. I don't, but some people seem so quick to believe that people want to know information about them. The thing is, though, it has now been explained to me multiple times, and I understand that there is a slippery slope thing. Privacy is important, not necessarily because there are juicy details about my life, but just because the principle of the thing, and if we accept a certain lack of privacy down the line, that could mean something much more extreme. I understand that. Yeah. I get it. I shouldn't be so flippant about it, but it's amazing to me that there are people who think that someone wants to watch them through their TV.
Sure. I think that is a different idea than is it moral or ethical or whatever to be monitored constantly, and the slippery slope that is. And the decision to say the government cares about what I'm doing right now and I need to avoid it.
Right.
That seems a little more paranoid and a little more verging on conspiracy theory and less practically talking about what you don't want the government to do institutionally.
Yeah, I guess.
Because they don't care. About your internet usage. They would if you started doing specific things, but they don't right now.
Right.
I can guarantee it.
David, did you answer this?
No. I think I'm with Mike. I think no matter what the conspiracy, it either will just be a little disappointing or actually do a lot of good to prove it wrong. Like, I'm coming out as a person that doesn't think believing in conspiracies is that healthy. Like, surprise.
And having one
most
confirmed.
of them are, it's just like, no, this isn't real. That's the one I'm going to choose, even if it is an inconsequential one like Bigfoot. Like, I'd love to believe that Bigfoot's real, like, you know, just because he seems fun. But if I disprove that because I just said, yes, I want to disprove one, that's fine. Because it's still like, well, now we can move on to like looking for other aliens or something. Like,
well,
I don't know.
I will say
Mike has a soft spot for Bigfoot.
Well, no, but here's the thing. You can't prove that Bigfoot doesn't exist.
But I just did.
But you can't prove a negative hypothesis.
Right.
Yeah.
I guess
Like
that's true.
You can prove
What I can prove is that the evidence that they found is for
Exactly.
other creatures.
But
and
then we
there's
can continue being like,
that's true.
he's out there.
Right. He's out there based on that we found this
That we
evidence
wanted
before.
to be.
Yeah, and people have done that.
And the
plenty,
thing
so
is
it's fine.
that, like you mentioned earlier, conspiracy theories are set up so that no matter what proof you find, no matter what, it will always be doubted.
For the purpose of the question, though, we can because he said it.
Yeah, like I think that would be if you could be like, let's just improve. Let's think about other ways to improve the world.
Yeah, because there's plenty.
If
There's
you could do
so
that.
much work right now being done to make documentaries about alien abductions, and we could be actually building spaceships to go get aliens to go actually get them. I want to get them.
But if you want to talk about people that are wasting energy on
that's true.
things, I don't think conspiracies are the biggest.
Yeah, welcome to the Hypotheticast.
People
We're
are
telling the
podcasting
truth. Dude, we're telling the
everywhere.
truth here.
Podcasts are getting made in basements all across America.
And it
Those
is
people
a
could be finding aliens. Those people could be
Yeah.
curing cancer. Those people could be petting dogs. Like so many things that would bring a positive light into our universe. And instead they're talking into stupid microphones about their stupid ideas.
Dogs need pets.
I got one more for you, folks.
Sweet.
And this one has to do with Emily's privacy argument, which is why I think it's relevant.
Just Emily's privacy.
This one has to do with
about
Emily's
Emily.
privacy. It's from Emily, and it is very revealing. This is from Helen Gutchie. We know her.
Oh.
Would you rather know that Big Brother is watching you every minute you leave your home, or have an ocular implant to record your every moment of life from birth and not know it?
Someone's been watching Black Mirror.
I know. At first, I thought these were very similar, but then I realized, no, it's that whenever you're outside your house, you're being monitored. Or every minute of your life is recorded, but maybe not accessible to like tons of people, but probably the government. We don't know why the ocular implant is there. It may even be accessible to you. In fact, I'm going to go ahead and say that it is because that's more interesting, that I can access my ocular implant.
But you don't really
At
know if
some
anybody
point.
else can.
But probably someone
Probably
can.
someone
I mean,
can.
let's be honest.
Could be
It's
the
like when I
government,
Google something,
could
I'm
be your
like, someone
mom.
can see this.
Yeah.
But what do you think?
So the second one.
You want the implant?
Yeah, because then I could be like, oh yeah, that did happen.
Honestly, that is, it's so
Sure.
dangerous. But I agree. That's my favorite
Confirm
episode of Black
something.
Mirror.
I've never done
No,
anything
that
wrong.
episode of Black Mirror is
I've got nothing
horrible.
to fear.
Because then it drives them crazy.
Oh,
the
I know.
episode where they can rewind and rewatch things?
Yeah, I know.
Ugh, that one gave me a headache. We don't need the ability to go back and rewatch and reanalyze every moment. I think that, I don't know if it would drive everybody crazy, but I think that it would encourage behavior that is not helpful.
Sure.
I would
That's-
go with
that's
the
probably
outdoor monitoring. I don't know. Again, I feel like, I mean, I don't know, like intimate home moments with like family and loved ones. I just feel like that's, I don't know. I don't want that
You
to
want
all
people to see
be.
that.
Yeah, I feel like I really appreciate feeling fully like alone or in intimate moments when I'm in my house. People want to monitor me outside. Again, I feel like I do very boring things for the most part outside of my house. So sure, videotape it.
Right.
Knock yourself out.
And the implication
Maybe
is
it'll make
that
me feel like I'm
there's-
famous and it's paparazzi following me.
That could be fun.
It could be fun.
Either way, there's monitoring happening. So it's not like you can
Right.
say, no, I don't want people to be
Right.
monitored. It's like, which one offends you less?
I thought no one was necessarily watching your.
We don't know about
recording.
the implant. It just has been there from birth.
You just don't know.
Yeah, it's just there.
How do you know
Feel
it's
like-
there?
Well, eventually you find out because you're in a movie and there's a plot where you're like putting in a contact and then you hear like a metal sound or something and you're like, what?
Oh.
And then you're in Final Cut starring Robin Williams.
Oh yeah, that was that movie.
Mike, did you choose? Which one do you want?
I said
he wants the
the
ocular
watch.
You want the watching. I think I want that
If
one
I can
too.
watch, then I could like watch movies I liked again.
That's true. It's
that I'd
basically like
seen.
built-in Netflix.
I wouldn't have to rent it. I could just watch it on my eye implant.
Yeah, it's so hard to rent movies these
It'd be
days.
so convenient.
You would save
Finding
dollars
movies to
on
man.
watch.
Which
So
streaming
hard.
service has Jumanji?
It's a big pain. You would save so many dollars of money.
Yeah.
like
I need
dozens
those
of dollars.
Yeah.
What a deal. Yeah, I think I want that implant because it implies something interesting about the way that we live our lives. Whereas the Big Brother one is just like, yeah, the state's keeping an eye on us. Like, great. I don't know. It's a little more boring and a little less mysterious. And I'm always going to go for the mystery.
As long as the implant was very clearly not from a serial killer who had just died on death row and they put in my eye as a baby.
To frame you.
Yeah. And then I had the
Wait,
eye
what
of
movie
a
is
serial
that?
killer. It's a trope that's been used in a few different films.
The eye of a serial killer?
Usually it's a hand.
Yeah. But they're like, oh, the DNA. It's like,
Yeah.
no, we got you because it's your fingerprint.
There's a segment in the movie Body Bags.
So stupid.
Missed that one.
Can I do a segment, David?
You can,
And
Mike.
Emily?
Do it.
I'm going to do a segment that we call the meat here at the Hypotheticast. This meat is conspiracy theory themed because that's the theme of the episode.
True.
This is the Hypotheticast.
Oh, God.
Pretty simple. Do you guys have conspiracies that you think / hope are true? David shared with us earlier about one he believed as a child. But we
Right.
could also say ones that we like kind of hope are true.
I think this could include things that you maybe believed in the past, but you are asking specifically, what is one that exists right now that you think probably isn't true, but if it were, it would be really cool.
It could be really cool.
Yeah. I'll start us off with a little palate. Not a palate cleanser, but a palate provider, perhaps. An appetizer. There we go. I hope that the Jimmy John's nude picture with a shark is actually Jimmy John. There's a picture of a person that has no clothes on a boat outside.
Oh, my God.
That's what naked means. He's wearing his pajamas. A person in his pajamas nestled up to a shark. He's like spooning a shark. And it kind of went viral because it's like a weird picture. And then people were like, wait a minute, this looks really similar to the Jimmy John CEO that has done a lot of like posing with dead animals, but not naked.
Not up till now.
And like, it's a theory. It's kind of a grainy picture. I 100% hope that that's actually that guy because it gives me something to like in an otherwise garbage human.
He's more vulnerable.
Yeah, exactly. Literally.
Putting himself out there.
He's putting his whole self out there. So that's one. It's not like the one that, lies at my heart, but like starting us off. I want that one to be real.
I'm going to say make things real dark now.
Great.
David's talked about Jimmy John cozying up to a shark.
Jimmy John.
It's his name.
It's really not.
It must be his name.
I don't think it's his name.
There's a conspiracy theory that is real sad if true, but I think sounds plausible, and I don't know. I just think it sounds interesting. Basically, it states that how Yuri Gagarin is the first man to be in space and come back alive.
Oh yeah.
And there's theories that there were cosmonauts that went up there and died in orbit, and to the extent that there's even people that claim to have heard radio broadcasts, hearing Russian people saying that they're burning up in orbit and stuff like that. Yeah, it's real. It's real not fun. But that's a crazy story.
Yeah,
but also
story.
plausible. I mean, there was a lot of stuff going on in Russia that we don't know about, and I think that's easy to pin it on Russia because that was the space race. It was kind of us and Russia. But yeah, I think it's very possible that that's something that actually happened. I can't really justify the fact that I want there to have been people that burned up in space, but I think that's that would be so glorious. You'd be like, I am in space, but then no one ever knows, and you don't ever come back.
It would be kind of a redemption to prove that true for those people, like a small slice of, hey,
if you could
you
prove
were
it.
there, at this point we can't. We're
I don't
probably
know.
not
I mean,
gonna,
it's possible.
Maybe there are
we might have
records of the flights or something. Okay,
There's so much classified stuff that's
true.
75 years later, we can uncrack that file drawer,
uncrack it, baby,
and just be like, oh yeah, the first person in space was actually this guy, and he was up there with his dog.
Oh no!
Those animals in space.
I love them,
but that's
I
not.
love them. That's not a conspiracy.
That's not a conspiracy.
That's so
we know
true
that we
and
sent
so
animals
cool.
to die in space.
It's sad that they died, but it's cool they got to be there.
They did get to go up there.
That little monkey.
Pretty nice for them.
Is the theory that I don't think this is a conspiracy, and I actually don't think I want it to be true
It's
either.
not a theory, and it's I would like tacos right now.
The Matrix, the idea that we're living in a simulation,
Right.
Is
That's
that
conspiracy
conspiracy
theory.
theory?
Oh, sure.
Or is
yeah.
that just a?
I mean,
yeah.
I don't know
Okay.
if it's
Sure.
technically a conspiracy theory. It's like a theory that has a lot of people that believe it, but it's not like based on, well, I don't know. It's based on some evidence.
Based on philosophy.
Yeah, and it's more based on an idea and less on like you can point to these images and say that Loch Ness is real. Like,
We can't prove that we're not basically living in a computer simulation in which some other greater being is basically playing a game. So I don't really want that to be true. I think that's really fascinating. And I also sometimes feel like those theories make me feel a little bit like, oh, that'd be nice.
Because
Pressure's off. Yeah, because then it's just kind of like it doesn't really matter.
Yeah, all the injustice that we get angry about on a daily basis.
It's just all
was a test.
simulation.
Yeah, it was just somebody being like, what will humans do?
Right. I know that's terrible, and I don't really want it to be real. I think the one that I just think is really crazy and hilarious that would be really, I would be mildly entertained if it was real, is the one that Avril Lavigne died in 2003 and was replaced by a lookalike named Melissa.
I saw that one when I was looking up, and I was like, I want to talk about this one and maybe have them guess if it's real or not. But I feel like Emily definitely, or maybe
I do.
will already know about
I
that.
do. I don't know. There's something that's always just been actually fascinating to me about Avril Lavigne. I mean, she was like so young when she came onto the scene, and the vibe that she had was this like punk, anti-establishment, like angry girl, but she was actually just like a very young girl who wore a lot of eyeliner. Like
Right.
Yeah,
there was
that's
nothing
all
about her
times.
actual message that was like
Yeah, that's true.
really that.
She wrote a song about skateboards.
She said, "See you later, boy." That skater boy.
That was quite edgy in the early 2000s to reject a male.
She didn't write songs like she wasn't Green
No.
Day. She just looked like Green Day.
Right. No, her songs were literal pop
Weird.
songs. It was like, why do you have to be so complicated? I'm confused about my feelings
Yeah.
because I'm an
I had a bad
adolescent
day.
girl.
They're just singing,
Right.
just like Taylor Swift.
One of the first times I got drunk in college, I had this really deep conversation with someone about how it looked like she had no soul if you like looked into her eyes. It was really just the eyeliner, but at the time we were like, oh yeah.
Kind of confirms though.
Did
It's
you
Melissa.
start that conspiracy theory then?
No,
that conversation.
but I
was
feel
the
like
origin?
this, like she has consumed more of my thoughts than I would like to admit. Just as a, she's so bizarre to me. And then she like had this reinvention as a pop star. Also, there was the time I couldn't find this article, but there was a time where when she was being interviewed, I think by Rolling Stone, and she didn't know who Bob Dylan was.
Oh, weird. It's pretty suspicious.
Oh, I think that's just that she was dumb.
Melissa.
Or not dumb. That's rude. She just like, didn't know. But it was just.
It
was
seems
like
weird
this,
that a musician in the
but
industry
she's
doesn't
just
know
this,
who
like-
Bob Dylan is. That's honestly shocking.
I think
yeah.
it was
Wait,
just
can I-
that she was a dumb teenage girl.
I would like to ask a follow-up. What's the evidence for that? Is it just that she looks different and is making new music? Like,
a
why
good
did people
question.
think she was replaced?
There isn't a lot of evidence. Honestly, what it is that she, after her initial like huge blast of fame where she was wearing like ties as belts and wide leg jeans, then she, grew up a little bit and started to wear like dresses and skirts.
Right.
And her face changed a little bit because she was not a child anymore.
Oh, no.
So it's mainly that. It's mainly people being like, she seems different now.
Yeah.
And also the amazing thing that people do with conspiracy theories where they read into the lyrics of pop songs. Like apparently there's a song called Slipped Away that people think that Melissa left this clue in this song.
Oh.
The day you slipped away was the day I found it won't be the same, which means nothing. Like that means nothing. But that's the crazy
does
thing
it?
about
Let's
Yes.
think about it.
It doesn't mean
the day
anything.
you slipped away.
was the day I found it won't be the same.
Yeah, because I'm a new person. Because I'm dead. I've been replaced by Melissa.
No, Melissa wrote that though.
Oh.
Here's another thing. There's a publicity shot in which Lavigne had the name Melissa written on her hand, which obviously
Remember a
Melissa
lunch date.
playing Avril Lavigne would want to hold on
Would
to her
wanna
past
write
and therefore
Melissa.
write her own name on her hand.
She wanted to remember that
Oh my
That's
God.
not who she is anymore. She's Avril Lavigne.
I'm Avril now.
Who am I not? Melissa. Better write that on my hand so I don't
think
mix
Maybe
it
that
up.
clone was just labeled in the factory and they forgot to like erase Melissa from it or something.
I think the other reason why I would love for that one to be true is that I really don't like all of the other celebrity deaths being replaced by other people ones, because I find those people to be like super talented, and I'm like, no. Although, I don't know, all that would really mean is that there were 2 people as talented as Paul McCartney, which is like pretty rad.
That's fun.
So I don't know. Yeah, I just think that would be really funny.
I really like. Have you guys heard of the phantom time hypothesis?
No, tell me more.
You guys haven't?
No, I don't think so.
Oh my God, yes, I have. Oh, it's so insane. Talk about it now.
I will. So basically, it hypothesizes that the Holy Roman Emperor, the Pope, and the Byzantine Emperor around the year 600 AD decided that they wanted to be around for the millennium, the first millennium, the year 1000. So they added about 300 years to history, and they basically made up 300 years of history
that's
and just added it to all the calendars. It was like, oh, it's this year now.
Just
it's the
at
year.
one
Yes.
point?
It's the year 911 now instead of the year 614.
Wait, it was 9/11?
Yeah, that's
Oh,
another
David,
thing, though.
you can take your. That's your time. This is not about that 9/11.
Jet fuel can't melt steel years.
But yeah, like it's basically like the whole purpose was they just wanted to be around for the millennium. But that
Makes
means
sense.
that like 300 years of what we think is recorded history was just like made up by these guys.
That is awesome.
Who just sat down and were like, yeah, Charlemagne, and also these people were Pope.
They basically like wrote a really long book
Fan fiction.
that has like props that they like all the artifacts people say from that time period then are like
They
fake.
made those.
Yeah.
God,
Yeah.
that's awesome.
And because like we don't have like, and some of the evidence is that like there's Roman architecture that they found in Europe that's like hard to date what time it was from. There's not a lot of archaeological evidence from that time period. It's pretty silly, but like I think what's interesting about it is that it kind of makes us question like how we think about history.
Yeah.
Because like in school we're taught certain aspects of history, and we definitely weren't taught the whole story.
Right.
Like we had very romanticized pictures of what Thanksgiving was about.
Right.
And then we're like, oh, that's not true.
When we're talking about history, especially from like that long ago, what we have to go on is so little. It's maddening.
Like that play you're in for the Fringe.
Yes, like Elizabeth Bathory. I mean, I think that's a really good point. Like, especially because like what people want to hear is so powerful. Like people love the idea of Elizabeth Bathory as like the vampire queen who bathed in blood so much that most people just think that it's real. Like they actually think, not that she's a vampire necessarily, but like, oh yeah, she bathed in the blood of virgins. Like people just accept that because we all know, oh, people did crazy shit in the old days. Like people did weird things. And so the idea of some old horrible woman bathing in the blood of virgins feels real, but that we have like actual proof that part of the story was invented by a priest like 100 years after she died. And yet we're all still like, oh yeah, that's the part that we remember.
It's a good story.
Because it's a good
great
story. There are so many examples of that in history.
Well, that specific story too. Like there's actually like that trope of like a powerful woman bathing in the blood of virgins is something that has occurred in other cultures throughout history, like all the way like in New Orleans.
We love that story.
In like I believe Japan. One of the reasons it's probably not true is that this is a story people like to tell throughout history.
Yep.
But doesn't that mean that it might
It's
be
like
true?
sexy, and it also plays into the idea that like women can't really be trusted in positions of power. And
If they got there, they must have done it through witchcraft.
Right, exactly.
Right,
Not
yeah.
by being intelligent
Right.
and
Right.
powerful.
but it is I mean that missing time theory
That was
is
great.
so interesting because I actually feel like something
possible.
like that would have been possible. Maybe not 300 years. That's
a lot of time.
That's a big ask.
That's a lot of writing.
The thing that I actually want to be real is Area 51.
Oh yeah.
You know what? I thought about
like,
almost saying that one too.
that's
yeah.
You want it to have aliens in it.
Well, I guess that's true. Or like,
Yes.
or just because it does exist.
I know. I was like,
there
it is a
there
secret government
is
base.
an Area 51, but I want like the rumors of what's in there to be true. I want there
Right.
to have been alien landings and for Will Smith to have punched an alien in the face
Oh.
and all of that stuff. I want Independence Day to be Fact. 100%.
I want Area 51 to have proof of aliens.
Okay.
But I don't want them to be aliens that want to kill us.
Sure. I mean, that's fair.
Like Mac and Me's.
Can't pick and choose.
That's what I want.
Yeah. Yeah.
I want him to be Mac and Me's.
What if you opened Area 51 and it was just like hundreds of Mac? Because his name's not Mac and Me, right?
Yeah. I don't know that his name is actually Mac either.
And
but
E.T.'s name wasn't E.T.
His name is Extraterrestrial. That's kind of offensive.
Use his
actually.
whole name.
Yeah, no, that would be pretty great.
I just want that because that's one that like a lot of people talk about. It seems actually feasible that there's some unexplainable artifacts in there that I'd like to see. And I want it to be real. Like, bring on the aliens. Let's do it.
Yeah. Especially the idea that it's more of it's like evidence that they do exist someplace very far away.
Right.
Who knows what they look like? I think if it is true, it's probably not the Greys.
Right. There
which
aren't
is
actual aliens living in Area 51. But
right.
there might be some pretty weird stuff in there.
Yes.
Yeah.
I want to see it, and I want it to be really weird and hard to explain, and not like super tall dudes with high foreheads. Like I want it to be like really weird, hard to even put words to proof of aliens, because that's exciting.
Totally.
I heard that
scary.
if you go down there and it's your birthday, let you go in and have a peek for free.
Oh,
If it's your
that's
51st
fun.
birthday.
Sure, yeah.
That's the only one.
First birthday. Yeah, we gotta wait a little bit.
But once I become 51, I'm going to find it all out. I'm going to see all those Macs. God, he was so ugly. No offense,
That's
Mac.
rude.
Yeah.
I mean, that was
maybe
an
by
ugly
your
puppet.
standards, David.
Human beauty standards.
I am not attracted to Mac from Mac and Me.
Okay, friends, let's move on to our third segment of this show. Generally, this is where we do a game called Would You Blanket, but we like to mix it up. Today, we are going to play a different game that is very similar to one of our favorite games called Fallout Shelter or Collaboratory. I guess this is probably more of a collaboratory, right?
Can we call it conspiratory?
That's perfect.
Great.
This is a game called Conspiratory, where we have, as we very often do, written lots of different things on little pieces of paper.
Paper-based games.
And then we are going to draw slips of paper, and together they will create the elements of conspiracy theories that we will on the spot create. And who knows, maybe they will take off. Maybe we will one day get to be the leader of our very own cult. I'm quite looking forward to it. So we have three categories. We have people, events, and other elements. I'm not going to explain too much. You'll figure it out as we go.
For historical events, sometimes I just wrote like a historical thing.
We don't need to hear your
Sure.
excuses, Mike.
I think it will
It's
make
not
sense.
an
Like, no, I think it'll make sense because we're trying to explain
It'll
how
work.
these things are related to each
Yeah,
other.
you guys will do a good job.
Yeah. Okay.
All right, David is up.
All right, I'll do it.
Let's make a conspiracy.
Here we go. Oh wow, he did it.
Messy.
He took those pieces
I'm
of
so
paper.
messy. I've got Albert Einstein,
Oh man.
the invention of Coca-Cola, and the multiverse.
I like it.
So Albert Einstein, very smart man, as we all know. He made all those equations with letters in them, and that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I think E equals MC squared is actually energy equals matter times Coca-Cola. So like
Well done.
he invented Coca-Cola to power it, like his scientific inventions that he uses to like teleport between other dimensions and stuff.
all those inventions.
All those inventions that he made, that classic inventor Albert Einstein. We all know.
Yes.
He had a secret lab, obviously. Who doesn't these days? And he invented a lot of time traveling devices and ways to look into other dimensions with Coca-Cola, and then like accidentally drank some one day and was like, oh my, this is very good. But then Albert Pepsi in a different dimension discovered his fuel but called it Pepsi, and then Albert Einstein was like, give me that. He took the Pepsi, released both at once, created this false competition, made tons of money. Albert Einstein owns Pepsi and Coke. He owns basically everything and is still alive somewhere in the multiverse.
I have a question.
Yeah, what's up?
Is the fact that we are all consuming this fuel that led to him being able to cross the multiverse, is that healthy? Is that bad for us?
No, it's fine. It just that's why hallucinations occur. The more you drink Coca-Cola, the more you're likely to see sort of phantoms from the multiverse appear around you, and that really helps explain.
So
a lot
all of those
paranoia.
people who hallucinate, It's the Coca-Cola.
It's Coca-Cola and Coke products.
That explains so much.
It really does.
What do those polar bears that like Coke so much mean?
Oh, that's from the universe where polar bears are the dominant species.
Is that what the Lost polar bears were about?
Lost has a lot of Albert Einstein themes. If you look real hard.
Okay.
So that's true. Believe it.
Done.
Mike, you want to go now?
I do.
Okay.
Mike's
Here.
turn.
All right. I have the band Journey, The Fall of the Berlin Wall, and Ghosts.
Oh, yeah.
That's a good combo.
So clearly the song Don't Stop Believing is, well, they cut it off and there used to be a parenthetical that was Don't Stop Believing in Ghosts. Because if we all stopped believing in ghosts, then ghosts wouldn't be real.
It's like fairies.
Oh, really?
And so it was a deal that Ghosts made with the band Journey. They were like, we need you to tell people to not stop believing in us, because if you don't, we're going to not exist anymore. It's like fairies or Peter Pan. Journey was like, that's cool.
That's cool. We'll put you in our song.
What happened was they were on tour in Eastern Europe in Berlin. And they had already made this deal with all of the ghosts that were west of the Berlin Wall. And so like some of the communist ghosts were like, hey, Journey, we really need you to write a song for us. And so there's actually a Russian version of Don't Stop Believing that was released. And this caused Ronald Reagan to weep. Like, when he heard it, he was like, because he loved the band Journey.
Yeah, he did.
And so he was like, oh my gosh, like we need to tear down that wall. And that's what happened. It fell down.
Oh, it just fell.
It just fell down because all those ghosts were just all dancing to that song.
That explains what, like, because I was always like, no way could people tear that down.
No.
It was too big.
Yeah. People like helped, but there was just a lot of ghost force around it.
Yeah.
It just happened to sync up right at this time when like there was a lot of Cold War drama happening. You know, all that Cold War drama.
Yeah,
Classic.
Yeah. But yeah, I think it really worked out well.
Was
for
David
the ghosts.
Hasselhoff just like a red herring? Or
I don't know what that means.
well, David Hasselhoff was at the fall of the Berlin Wall performing.
I mean, the fact
I didn't know that.
You didn't?
No.
Wasn't he?
Is this a conspiracy?
I actually don't know what you're talking about.
No.
I mean,
This is
I
amazing.
accept it.
I hope it's true.
That can be your
That's so
conspiracy
awesome.
theory.
No, I bet it's real. I just
I
don't
started
know that much
Googling
about
David
the Berlin
Hasselhoff
Wall.
and I got to the Hass and it auto-filled David Hasselhoff Berlin Wall.
you did-
Maybe that's
you did
because I
just Google
just
Berlin
Googled
Wall.
Berlin Wall.
Yeah.
Okay, weeks after the border was opened, but before reunification, Hasselhoff performed his song Looking for Freedom, suspended from a crane above the wall near the Brandenburg Gate.
So sort of, yeah. Not when it was being torn down, but like before it was actually trafficked. That's kind of cool.
Now, every time anyone sings Don't Stop Believing at karaoke, like all those ghosts just glow a little brighter because they're like, yeah, don't stop believing
don't
in me.
Stop in me. They've
All
been
around the world.
erased.
All around the world.
It's actually really tragic. It's a more historical erasure of an entire people group, which is ghosts.
Because they don't mention that in the song
right.
anymore.
It used to be there and now it's not.
Well, it's not
anymore.
mentioned, and yet they still draw their power from
Sure.
it because, like, the
intention
intention is
of
still
the
there.
song.
They know
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
about them.
Like art can take on a life beyond its artist.
True.
What Journey had in mind when writing it is still infused in the...
They're still being believed in, even if when we sing that song we don't understand exactly what it's about. Like, there's a lot of songs that we sing we don't know what they really mean, and this one's about ghosts.
Yeah,
There you have it.
great.
One of the pre-choruses to Don't Stop Believin' is straight up about ghosts.
Yeah, I know.
Strangers
I told you it
waiting
was.
up and down the boulevard, their shadows searching in the night. Streetlights, people living just to find emotion, hiding somewhere in the night.
They're ghosts.
Oh my God, duh.
Ghosts. Why
Don't
did you
stop
guys
believing
not know?
in ghosts. Hold on to that feeling of ghosts. Streetlights, people, or ghosts. Don't stop believing in ghosts.
It's what it is.
Hold on to a ghost's hand.
Yeah, you can do that too.
I just drew mine.
What is it going to say, Emily?
It's the Unsinkable Molly Brown,
Hey.
Mount Rushmore, and Poison.
Oh, good. Oh my God.
Yeah. So not a lot of people know that the Unsinkable Molly Brown, she was actually the project leader. She was the artist
The designer.
behind Mount Rushmore, but it was supposed to be for women, not male
Yeah.
presidents. It was supposed to be Eleanor Roosevelt
Nice.
and Joan of Arc,
Oh,
Pretty good.
that classic American hero, Joan of Arc.
Cleopatra,
Oh, so just like the big ones.
And Queen Elizabeth.
The one who's still alive?
Two or
yeah.
one? Queen Elizabeth too.
Elizabeth too.
She was like so little, a baby, but it was for her.
So that was like the plan. The sketches have been done. The blueprints have been drawn up. Everything was like ready to go. And then the underground men's rights activists found
just
out.
Regular people at the
So
time.
men.
Just males
Men.
caught wind of this, and they were like, how dare you deface the very boring face of one of the Dakotas with the faces of women. It should be big, manly men. The only things that deserve to be made from stone and put in a really boring place are men that we've instilled with an outsized amount of power. So
also take that, South Dakota.
I mean,
a really boring place.
And the Unsinkable Molly Brown. Her theory was that like she should start in a place like that because the world maybe wasn't ready for
I could go under
women
the
at large. So it would be like they would come and visit and then realize the power and scope of what these great women had done. Queen Elizabeth II, just an infant at the time,
but so strong.
she
already.
represented the future.
Right. So then when the men found out about this, they knew they couldn't do anything to Molly Brown because she's unsinkable.
Can't sink her, can't kill her.
It's impossible. So they decided to start poisoning key people around her
Oh.
and calling her late at night and being like, like,
You up?
we're doing this and we won't stop until you make the statues men.
I like the way that they talk.
Yeah.
Hey, we're conspiracy theorists.
We're doing this.
We're
Well, they weren't
doing it.
conspiracy theorists. They were.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
No, they are.
We're
They were
the conspiracy
the
itself.
terrorists.
We are a conspiracy.
So she didn't want anything bad to, she didn't want these bad things to keep happening to the people around her.
That's nice.
So she quietly one night packed up her blueprints and her team and said adios. And then South Dakota was like, oh, well, what are we going to do with this mountain? And so they,
Can't just leave it alone.
so then they decided to move forward with the Mount Rushmore as we now know it.
Did she ever get to carve those faces into anything?
She actually became a really big wedding cake baker in her later life, and she worked a lot with fondant,
Oh yeah.
which is that frosting that tastes like garbage, but you can make look like anything.
Yeah.
So she was known to, especially for lesbian weddings, she would make
Nice.
her Mount Rushmore as their wedding cake. It was like very beautiful and emotional for everybody who was there because they all knew they were seeing sort of a small piece of what could have been, but wasn't.
Was it called Mount Rushmore Visibility and Respect for Women?
Yes.
Is that what it was called?
Yeah.
I
so
feel
you've
like I
heard
heard that
this.
somewhere.
You've
Yeah,
heard
yeah,
this.
I don't remember
It's on
exactly.
Reddit.
I heard remember that she replaced her body with fondant, and so she lives to this day.
Oh.
Yet, I mean, she is fondant, and she is the source of all fondant.
Oh,
so,
she gives life
so
to
all
fondant.
all fondant actually comes from her.
Oh my god!
If you go to any bakery today and you ask for a fondant cake, it had its origins in the Unsinkable Molly Brown.
It's weird that like fondant also doesn't sink in water.
Makes you think.
So this next segment is called If I Were You. It's where we talk about things that we would do if we were indeed you. Who wants to go first?
Me. My name's David, and I am myself. But if I were you, I would listen to the podcast Bubble. It's a show on Maximum Fun. It stars many people from the Maximum Fun network. So if you like any show on that network, they're probably in Bubble. Like they're there. I initially did listen to it because I'm a big fan of the McElroys, Justin, Travis, and Griffin, and they play some very funny characters in Bubble in episode 3 or 4. Lots of good guest spots. Really, like, it's sharp writing. The music's fun. They do a surprising amount of Foley for it's kind of a first time audio drama project that's half comedy, a little bit of improv, and then like some actual plot that's kind of cool.
Comedy, sci-fi, adventure.
Yeah, it takes place inside a bubble where people live in the future because the world has become so dangerous that you can't live outside, so you have to live in this protected zone. And it's about people that live outside of the bubble, live inside the bubble, and what they do with their lives. It's
really funny.
I actually have this theory that they picked a lot of things that are bubble that are bubbles right now, like
that's
microbrewing,
funny.
and like they talk a lot about apps that you use to like. There's an app called Hunter for like hunting things that come in from outside
but it's like
the bubble.
The gig economy.
They make fun of all of these bubble economies on the show, and I was
that's
like,
a really good point.
Did they realize that, and are they
That
winking
double
at us by
meaning.
calling it bubble, or is that just a coincidence that I drew the connection with?
It's a
I don't
really
know.
funny show. They have
funny,
really
though.
funny actors on it. And,
True.
I would like to recommend a movie called Interview with the Assassin. It is a found footage movie from around Blair Witch times. So ABWP. After Blair Witch Project.
After Blair Witch Project.
my
So not
God.
when the Blair Witch.
That was precious time that you just wasted.
Anyway, what I like about it is that it's a found footage movie that's not a horror movie. Most of them are horror movies. It's a guy who claims to have information on like the Kennedy assassination, and he goes and interviews him. And there are a number of plot twists that I will not spoil, but it basically becomes kind of a political thriller that maintains the found footage premise in a really interesting way. And it's not very well, it's super low budget. Like, I mean, because you can do those movies super low budget. And it came out a long time ago. I remember like renting it from Blockbuster when I worked there and when there were Blockbusters. So it was that long ago.
What's it called again?
Interview with the Assassin.
Interview with
Cool.
the
I don't know if
Assassin.
it's streaming anywhere, but it's definitely worth a watch. Like, it's a really interesting story told in a unique way.
Cool.
My name is Emily, and if I were you, I would read the book Tell the Machine Goodnight
Good night.
by Katie Williams. Have you guys heard of this one?
Oh,
Nope.
It is speculative fiction. It's weird, and it's not like a, oh my God, earth-shattering work of art. It's more just like a weird experiment of a novel is what it felt like. The premise of it is that in the future, and it's actually specifically it's set in like the 2030s or something, we have developed this technology in which you can take a swab from the inside of your mouth and put that on a little chip and then insert it into a machine. And the machine will analyze your DNA and give you 3 things that you should do to make yourself happier.
Oh, wow.
The premise of it is kind of the main character, although it follows a few different characters, works for a company that has those machines and is hired out by like other companies to go to their office and test everybody and tell them, it's kind of like this like morale thing, tell them the things that they should do to be happier. It has like a weird dark sense of humor, but it's just a really interesting study on technology, the trust we put in technology, and also happiness and what that means.
Yeah.
Tell the Machine Goodnight by Katie Williams. Yep.
I will. Emily, tell me some secrets about where we are.
This is top secret information. You can find us, the Hypotheticast, on Facebook. You can find us on Twitter. You can find us on Instagram at Hypotheticast_IG. You can also email us, hypotheticast@gmail.com. And we have a website, which is hypotheticast.club, where you can go, listen to our episodes, leave a comment, and reach out and contact us.
you can also find us on the deep web, which is iTunes or any podcast app that you listen to, and leave a review there for us. It's very helpful.
Thank you to Jaden James and The Hunger for their song Killin' It. And thank you to Christian Hagen for his logo called the Hypotheticast logo. We have buttons available with that logo on them. If you want one, they're $2. If you want one, but you don't have $2 or you don't want to send money through the mail, then you can send us a picture of your favorite conspiracy photo with the area of question circled with an arrow pointing at it in red. Ooh. You know, like that, like they do to be like, there's no tire track on the moon, that kind of thing. Send us that and we'll send you a button.
Yeah, we would love that.
Thanks to you, the listeners, for your questions, and thanks for listening, sticking around, being our pal, and just, I don't know, being yourself.
Yeah, you did it. You were yourself again.
Thank you so much, listeners. We love you from the bottom of our hearts.
We have one more segment. It's called No Questions Asked. This question comes from Christian Hagen. Would you rather inhale chemtrails the government uses to control the weather, or drink chemicals they put in the water that turn the friggin' frogs gay?
Chemicals.
Chemicals. Give them to me.
Hey, have a good rest of your last few days of your summer, guys. It's almost over. Enjoy it. Don't waste it.
Don't you waste your
Get
summer.
out there.
Let the secrets be known.
Don't be in 2 plays all summer and not have any time to relax and then buy a house on top of it. Don't do that. That's stupid. Enjoy your life.
My cheer, 'cause I'm feeling it. I'm feeling it. I'm feeling it.
Rare that you are exclaiming that you're not attracted to something.
Yeah, he doesn't want to smooch Mac.
No, I don't want to. He's nasty.
Methinks the David doth protest too much.
No, not Mac. Not his gross little raisin
Don't make
body.
me kiss
No.
him. Don't lock me near 51 with Mac.
Oh, and throw away the key and put on some Barry White.
Strange
No.
mating experience. Okay, that's
Masters of Sex Season 5. Mac and Dave just getting it on, seeing what they can make.
Emily. Quick! What's this next segment?